So that's 20 miles just done. That's the end of week 3 of London Marathon training. So this video series is going to be my London Marathon build-up, aiming for sub 2:30. So let me take you through what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. As you're talking about a marathon, what is it you've got to aim in that? Everyone has an aim, right? You've got something that you want to achieve from it. And for me, there's always been one thing that I always thought, well, I've got various things I wanted to do along the way. So, you know, I'd like to get a sub 40 minute 10K, sub 20 minute 5K. That came after. At one point I wanted to break 17 minutes. And then these things all kind of go into one, but there's always been one, well, 2 numbers that have always been there at the end. And when I got my Vaporfly, there's a little space in the bag for you to kind of like fill in a time like they do with world records. And what I put on there is that aspirational target. If you can see, that's 2:29.57. So what is it I want? I want a sub 2:30. Now, does that have to be 2:29.57? I put 57 because I want to make sure. I've had a few races where I've just been a few seconds over, so I'd like a few seconds of cushion. So what would I really like? I would like to go sub 2:30, and I'd like to go as far sub 2:30 as I can. I'm just going to train as hard as I can, run as well as I can. What will be will be. So I'll try and get there, and we'll see. So what makes me think I can do this? I've done a lot of power of 10 stalking, and when you go on power of 10, you'll find there's a lot of people that have done sub 2:30. If you rank it by the year, you can see those that just dipped under, because there are people that have done 2:29.59. So who are they? What are their backgrounds? How old are they, etc.? You can see they kind of split into two camps. I think they split into 2 camps. This is my kind of perception of this. So you've got those that have got the kind of track background and they've eventually kind of gone up to the marathon. So you'll see that they were like doing junior 800 meters, they were doing this, that, the other, and they've eventually gone and done a marathon. I can't really relate to those. I came to running a bit later. But then you've got the other group, like myself, and what kind of credentials in terms of running do they have? I think the key that seems to stick out is every one of them has about a 5K time of 15:45 or faster, or an equivalent of 10K. It's not just 5K. So the 5,000 park run, it's something that people do quite a lot, and there's an awful lot of 15:40s, 15:45s, some 15:50s, but there or thereabouts. Well, I've done that 3 times now. I did that last year, and I've just done that twice in quick succession. So I've got that part. And the other bit that I can't overlook is I did mid Cheshire, so I put a review of that up. It's one of my other videos. I don't know if I can link to it. If I can, I will. If not, I'll try and put it in the comments. And what I've got there is I did it and I went hard. I faded towards the end. It wasn't my fitness that let me down, it was my endurance. I just didn't have the endurance to sit and keep on going at the pace so it's about 5:40 a mile, and I just couldn't keep on going from about 20 miles. The time just slowly slipped away from me. So I ended up about 2:30.50. It's not a million miles away. What is that? It's not fading towards the end, or even if it is fading towards the end, it's just getting perhaps 2 miles further along. And I had a very disrupted build up to that. So I had injuries in January. I didn't really train for all of January. I was kind of doing some miles here and there, but never really training, not to the level I needed to be. This is different. I'm coming into this on a bit of a roll. So I had mid Cheshire. I then had a couple of weeks easy, so maybe like 30-40 miles a week. I didn't really check. I just, if I wanted to go run, I went to run. If I didn't want to run, I didn't run, and that was okay. I learned a lot from mid Cheshire, and I found a lot of things that worked for me, so I'm going to keep on trying to do those. So what's happened then? I've gone back into training, and I've gone back into getting in that 70 miles week in, week out, thereabouts. So I'll put a picture up of my training, so you can just sort of get a sense of, well, okay, you can see the consistency coming in. That has got the last 3 weeks, so that's the first 3 weeks of London training in it. So you can see that, well, actually I'm kind of coming into this in a good place. It's different as well. This is a London Marathon that's happening in October. So yes, last year's was October, but that was an elite only event in the end. I'm coming into this in a good place. So I'm not coming into it off a winter of bad food, which is what shouldn't happen, but let's be real, that happens. I'm at 69 kilos. I'm at the right kind of weight. I've got the background, I've got the recent events that are there, you know, actively like kind of where I'm at. I've just done 2 5Ks to start off with. I know I'm in good shape, so I'm coming into it in good shape, and I think I can push on from here. So there you go. That's kind of what I'm hoping to achieve from it, and that's where I'm starting from. So why do it? I think with my Wrexham training, I enjoyed following the training of other people. I think it would be nice to add something to that. I think it would be nice also to document it, because I'm going to do this, I'm not this forever. So I think going through in a few years' time and seeing exactly what went into this training will be interesting to see. So things fade with time. You can look back at your training from past years and it didn't seem that hard, or it did seem that hard, but actually seeing it and recording it for now will be interesting. just to say, if you are getting something from these videos, please do hit like, subscribe. If you want something doing differently, please do tell me in the comments. There's nothing in this for me. I've not got a Patreon, I've not got anything to sell, I've not got an OnlyFans. It's just doing these for a bit of fun. So it'd be interesting to see what people are looking for and hopefully add something of value. So what is the next 12 weeks going to look like? I guess it's the next 9 weeks. I've done 3 already. So what's it going to look like? Well, my coach sets me training about a week and a half in advance, so I see it appear up. So I'll put at the bottom or the top of the screen, depending on where my face is. I get a sense of like what I've got coming up. For this will be week 4 of training, and you'll see that I'll have usually 2 sessions a week and a long run. And as a part of that, one of those sessions might be a race, and it's going to total 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100 miles a week. So I did hit 100 in my Wrexham build up. I might do that again. Over the course of the training block, I've also got 5 races that are lined up. So I've done 2 5Ks. It's actually quite a lot, but I've had the chance to race and I think it's great, and it's good prep, and I've missed it. So I've had the 2 5Ks. What have I got coming up? Well, I've got next Thursday a 10K, the Humpere Point 10K. I've then got the Nottingham Track 5,000 metre challenge, where I'll be getting my Dragonfly out and trying to get to about 15:30 or thereabouts. So I guess target time for the 10K, in an ideal world, A target's going to be sub 32. B target is going to be PB, sub 32:23. C target, I'd still like to keep it under 33 minutes. I think that would be very nice. I've done the 2 5,000 metre and 5K races. They were 15:40. So everything says, all of those are achievable. I don't know which one I will do. Partially depends upon the weather, partially depends on how I'm feeling and how much I cut back for it. I think we're looking at about those kind of levels. Take it out a few more weeks. So we've got the track challenge, 15:30 thereabouts is what I'm after. I'll settle for a PB. So I've got 2 goals. One is 15:20. It's A goal, B goal 15:30. And I guess C goal is a PB. Anything other than a PB will be not so disappointment, but it won't be great. It's kind of what you want to see, right? Is progression as you go through the training. Going out a few more weeks, I've got the Wiln 10K, so same applies for time-wise. The week after, the Great North Run, so I've always seen it on TV. It doesn't, to be honest, look the most exciting event, but people do talk about it, and it is one of those kind of seminal events that people have. So, well, I guess why not go and do it? And I've got a chance to get in there on that sub-elite status. I've got a chance to do these things. It would be a shame not to take that chance up. So I'm going to go and do the Great North Run before then going into the London Marathon and a sub 2:30. So now the training, how has that gone? So this is now 3 weeks in, so I'll talk through each week in turn. And what I'm going to do is on the screen, I'll try and put up something from those major sessions. Most runs, I might pull one up every now and then, but it really is about, well, what's the totality? So I'll show you the totality of the week, and then what's the elements that have got into that. So, and it hasn't been a case of start out of like, okay, now we hit it, now it's marathon training. It's just rolled through. So I've been doing week in, week out miles, and that's continued. I've had the sessions. It's just now you notice that they're starting to get quite specific. The long runs are getting longer. The sessions are getting a bit higher volume. It's just creeping up. It's not that anything's flipped. There's no switch that's flipped. It's just up in the ante a little bit. So week 1, what happened in week 1? So I'll put that on the screen in some place. So what you're going to see is 77 miles for the week, quite a big week. And there were kind of 3 major things that went into that week. So the first part of that was a session. So the session, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. It was then meant to be 5 minutes, but friends were doing 10 minutes, and then a bunch of 1-minute reps. So I joined them. I did 15 minutes first, then I joined them to do their 10 minutes, which was actually 2 miles, so near enough. And then we did a bunch of 1-minute reps. So in total, the work's about the same. It adds up to, 10, 25, about half an hour of work, but it all kind of 25 minutes at tempo, and then a few bits that are picking up a little bit. So I've got the thing on the screen, you can see it. And yeah, that was tough, but I got it done. So you're getting tired at this point. But at that point, I cut back, ready for the track race I've got. So I've got the Milton Keynes track race. I did a review of the Dragonfly. It's in my videos if you want to go check that out. And in preparation for that on the Thursday, I went to the track and did some efforts. It wasn't a session, it was efforts. So I'll try and overlay some video now so you can just sort of see me running through in a few of those shoes as I was testing the different ones out to see what I was going to wear, because there's a big question as to what I went on and did. So that was the track session, and that then went through to the track race. So how did the track race go? It went well. It could have gone better. I could have got a PB, but I did my best. So I'll put the splits up from the track race, and you'll see that, and you'll see that I kind of slowly faded a little bit, but I didn't totally fall apart. I ended up finishing 5th in my wave, which is actually, well, heat wave, call it what you will. I'm very pleased with that. It's really good. There's some great athletes, people better than me in there. So I was able to at least hold it together and hold my own. So very pleased with that. Then the next morning, went out for food after that. And the next morning with a friend, 16 miles, a little tour in Northampton, and we got the job done. So in total, a nice good week, a solid week 1 of training. Very happy with it, gets the ball rolling. So that leads us into week 2. So week 2, kind of coming off a race, I felt pretty terrible. On the Monday, we'd done the long run yesterday. That's a Sunday. I got some weights done, so I've started doing a kettlebell session once a week. It's the Bromka session. So Bromka does some amazing riding. Peter Bromka, he was the fastest guy not at the US trials because he just ever so slightly missed it, and some excellent writing about it. So I do his weight session. He's put a YouTube video up. I can put a link to it in the comments in the notes. And yeah, I did the weight session on the Monday. So I guess I'll also put up as well on here the session for the week, or the weekly. So you can see the week as a whole is down a bit, 68 miles rather than the sort of 70, 75 I've been looking at. I think it just comes from a hard race and then a long run straight after that. So it takes a lot out of you. I was pretty knackered on the Monday, did the 1 run, did the weights, just trying to get through it all. Into the Tuesday, I had a session, so I'll put a bit of information about that one. So what was my session meant to be? And what was it actually? I kind of varied it a little bit. It was meant to be, I think it was 20 minutes and then a bunch of 5-minute reps, 4 5-minute reps. A friend of mine was then doing 3 by a K and a bunch of 200 meters. So again, just that trying to run with company, I think so much easier. So I'll put the information on the screen. What I did was I did my 20 minutes. It was a little bit slow. And then I did the 3 times by K with him. And they were about where they wanted to be for him. So a bit faster than my 5 minutes were meant to be. But again, it's all just hard work, right? And after that 6 by 200 meters, it actually felt good. I mean, that's probably the only time that week that I felt good. A couple of days through and then on to the 5K. So in the Dragonfly video, I also put up a review of when I ran 5K. So as I've got a picture of it, I can put on the screen, and I'll put my splits and the elevation profile, etc. on the screen here. So it's kind of a net downhill 5K rolling. I went for a time, went for about a 15:20 or thereabouts, 15:30. Went hard and just faded towards the end. Just couldn't hold it. Not quite fit enough is ultimately what it comes down to. So I did my best, and there's a picture I can show there. What can you say? 15:44 in the end. So that's 2 weeks, 2 races, basically the same result, which kind of says that's where I'm at. So yeah, a really tough week. The next day was parkrun, so parkrun was back. What did I do? I did the first lap with my son because he wanted to do a first lap of grown-up junior parkrun, as it's called, to them. And so I did that, and then pushing the buggy with my daughter in it, and then did that, and then did a few more miles after that, but not a huge amount. Next day was meant to be a long run. I was meant to be doing 18, but I just felt terrible, so I ended up doing 12. So I ran into town, met the family, they went into town, drove. I ran in, met them there, we went to the bookshop and bought some books. So a very nice family day, but as a whole, just a really tough week when it comes to running. It was very much this week about grinding it out. The race itself felt fine, I felt good for that, and I felt good on maybe some of those 200 meter reps, but for the most part, just really quite a tiring week, really quite hard to get going, and not a surprise really. I mean, you do a race, it takes a lot out of you, and it's not necessarily the physical that it takes out of you, it's often just that mental. You've put yourself kind of on the rivet for 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long it is. And again, it's that Greg LeMond quote, it doesn't get any easier, you just get faster. So if you've gone out and done a 25-minute park run, and that is you working hard the whole way, maybe blowing at sort of like 2.5 miles and just dragging yourself home, you know how it feels, and you know that you feel trashed for the next few days. It's not necessarily just the kind of physical exertion, it's the mental focus as well you've put into that and the amount you've invested in it. So that was my week 2. So we're now on to week 3. So how did week 3 go? It starts the week very tired. So again, it's a race on the Friday. Had sort of the crappy-ish long run and really just a tough start to the week. So why so hard? The race was net downhill. So I did Boston US, so the Boston Marathon in 2019. My legs, my quads were trashed for several weeks, months afterwards, just because the downhill just takes a pounding. Your legs are absorbing so much. So Monday I went for a jog and I went on the turbo trainer, trying to spin them out a little bit. So one thing I had done to my mid-Cheshire training was going on the turbo trainer, just spin my legs, watch videos once a week, documentaries, YouTube vids, other bits and pieces. Just helps to sort of keep a bit of extra aerobic without the damage. So I tried that on the Monday, ready for the session Tuesday. Came to Tuesday, I was just ruined, I couldn't do anything. So I went for a short shuffle at the end of the day. It also didn't help, my daughter was just ill. So up every hour, really quite tough. Just tired and life, trying to put in miles, races, all of it together. just a bit much. So I went for a short shuffle at the end of the day eventually, pushed the session out to the Tuesday. So the session was meant to be an 8 mile progressive run, starting at kind of 5:45, 5:50, finishing at 5:20. I did it on the Wednesday. It didn't get close to the pace, so I'll put the paces up at session 1 for that third week. So again, each week, 2 sessions really and a long run. And I didn't get close to that, but I actually did finish it, which was good. I've really thought about stopping a few times. I nearly called it quits at 7, then thought, I'll have a minute or two, then try and do at least 1 mile at the right pace. But actually as well, there's that Bowerman talked about having date pace and race pace. So the question is, at the moment, is it relevant for me to be running at the right pace? Is it about I need to be running 5:20 miles at the end because the 5:20 is the important part, or is it that it's an 8 mile run that gets harder and harder as you go through it? So my pace didn't really get that much quicker at the end, but I was going uphill for the last 2 miles, so only a slight incline, but it's enough that that's 10 seconds a mile. So it was harder, it was faster, all things being equal. You look at like your Strava grid, adjusted pace, etc. It will come up better. It'll still only be finishing at the pace I meant to be starting at, but at least I went out. It's a hard week, you're tired, and I went out and I got it done. So quite pleased with that one. That meant I try not to do sessions back-to-back days. So I did the Wednesday, and then that means the next one was going to be Friday. I didn't want to do Thursday, so Thursday went out and did a run. Friday we're on to our second session. So what was that one? That was meant to be warm-up, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. All nice idea, all nice to kind of have a nice warm up into it and a nice cool down afterwards. But then I was planning to do it while the kids were at gymnastics, but then my son had come down with the same kind of cold, so we've had to do the COVID test. We've come back negative because when it comes to the moment, any symptom of anything might be COVID, so therefore LFT test for the kids, which is fun for them. And not COVID, but didn't want to go to gymnastics, so he was going to be staying at home with me. So wifey let me know that I'd got 40 minutes before she was going to be going. So if you want to run, you've got 40 minutes. It's like, well, I've got a session that's 30 minutes, so I was quickly jogged to the park, maybe 0.2 of a mile warm up, and then straight into it, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5. I'm really pleased to hit the paces. So I think it's 5:35 for the 10 minutes, and then dropping it down to sort of 5:25 for the 5 minutes, going round, getting heckled by the kids, youth in the park, but got it done. So really pleased with that one. Roll through to Saturday, and just I had to get my long run done on the Saturday this week. So went out with a friend, and nice hilly loop we got. Meant to be a progressive long run, so kind of really moving through the gears as you go on it. Ideally finishing at marathon pace. Was a bit tired for that, so I've put the week up. You've seen it's a bigger week, but if I haven't put it up, I'll put it up now, and probably put it up at the start as well, just so you've seen it. And 21 miles it ended up at, so 20.5 and then a 0.4 cool down. So the last mile was kind of a 6-minute mile. The last 3 were kind of a 20-minute park run, 25k-ish. I think the last 10k was probably about 40 minutes. So we sort of cranked it a little bit without getting too excessive, doing what you can. So he was about done, I was about done. That's kind of it really. And then on the Sunday, just a bit more running. So overall, a decent week. 80 for the week, 83 I think it was. I just went and did a run on the Sunday, nothing too special. So 3 weeks wrapped up. Hopefully that's sort of seen, well, what am I putting into this? What's going into it? It's the multiple runs. So it's probably, I've not checked, but probably 10 runs a week. And of those 10 runs, it's 2 sessions and a hard run. There'll be a couple of double days, trying to get in a turbo trainer once a week, trying to get in some weights once a week. I've eased off those around race days because I do find that I get sore, and I have that DOMS that just keeps on giving. So trying to sort of really space it out a little bit, add in that variety and keep the miles in. And just get tired. It's hard work. It's a lot of miles for me, and cranking them out week after week is what you're going to try and do. So there you go, there's 3 weeks. Hopefully let's do another one of these in a few weeks, see how we're getting on. One more race to report on, maybe a second, I think that comes in there too, so certainly a 10k, and then also probably the 5,000 comes at the end of that. So we'll see a few more markers as to how it's getting on, and hopefully getting a bit deeper into training and see where the miles go from here. Hope I enjoyed that.